going to paint a picture for you guys. They're protesting out in front of a federal building in Minneapolis.
I thought you were going to say you were going to paint a picture of a butterfly.
I could do that too. Would be great. Probably a monarch. I like orange. Plus, it's probably the only butterfly any of us know, besides iron.
And I got a DeVita, baby.
And that's all we know about them.
Yes, sir.
So they're out there in front of the building. Stay with me, people. As the CNN person is reporting from there. Or maybe she's an Inuit because she's dressed up in ginormous clothes, fur, holding the microphone, shivering because it's snowing hardcore. The crowd's not as big. I tell you what, the winter will put a damper on this in a way that the summer would not. You think twice, because at night, if you notice, like a few things happen at night, but not much. Not like all over the place when you saw it, in the summer of love.
Because all the BLM riots were happening?
Because nobody wants to be outside.
Yeah.
It's snowing. It sucks.
I want to riot and loot, but I don't want to be cold.
I know. I don't want to be cold. I want to be comfortable. Well, this isn't the place to do it right now. Meanwhile, all right, I'm going to play some of this. So this is our good buddy Gino Bolsa, who is talking to the Williamson County Board, the school board there, about what's coming back, guys. He's trying to bring the prayer, the Bible, all of it back to the school.
A bill to get voluntary prayer back into public schools, which we're very excited about. Senator Hensley will be sponsoring that for us in the Senate. 1962, the U.S. Supreme Court, in the Engel versus Vitale case, said that having voluntary prayer in public schools violates the Establishment Clause. That holding was an error. Teachers, staff, and students who opt in by signing a consent form are able, before school hours, to have voluntary prayer. And also that the school system will have K through 12, a curriculum that includes teaching the Bible as history and literature, not as divinely inspired scripture. Something that really has not been done in any other state.
So that's potentially going to happen. And it was interesting because the board members were asking some questions about, like, first of all, don't we already have that? I mean, you can voluntarily do that now. Nobody's going to stop you. You do it before. You've had other things on campus, and you don't. Why do we have to, put it into some sort of law?
Every time I talk at an event, I indicate that we're going to make an effort to get prayer back in public schools. The applause is off the charts.
Well, I'm sure people do applause when you say we're going to put prayer back in public school, but again, we've never had prayer leave public school. We have prayer in public school every day that we have public school, and so it's frankly, it's a little bit offensive that you would suggest that we're restricting that in our school districts, because we're not. Let's be very clear about that. We are not restricting prayer in public schools. It happens.
I mean, respectfully, Eric, I think that's not true. I mean, we did have in this country.
What's not true, that we have prayer in public schools or not?
We had teacher-led prayer in public schools up to 1962.
Can we acknowledge
After
that we have prayer
we didn't
in
have
public
it.
schools?
So there was a sea change when the U.S. Supreme Court decided.
Can we
Engel
at least
versus
acknowledge we have prayer in
we have
public
prayer in the
schools?
same way that we always did? That ignores the historical reality.
And he said they're teacher-led prayers. So if the kids go and pray, that's one thing. If somebody comes in from the outside and it's a club or something, that's another thing. But he wants teacher-led prayers, which I'm a solid no on. I am. Let's keep it out of there. Right? Let's get the reading down. Let's get the writing down. Let's get the arithmetic down, or whatever they're teaching in today's world. Let's get all that stuff. Let's get it rocking and rolling. If, like I took when I was in Europe, I took a class that was a Bible as literature. It had nothing to do with the religion, just as literature itself and the books and everything. Okay, but that was for an older group of folks. You don't need to do that, because I know the goal is, look, they just want to say, no, we don't want the Quran. We don't want anything else but what we want.
When you took that class, too, you weren't a captive. You weren't required to be there.
Yeah.
And you weren't required to study a curriculum that had been decided on for you. You were able to make a choice as an adult. And if you had decided, I'm not enjoying this, and got up and walked out, that would have been perfectly fine, too.
Exactly. It was an elective for me to go and take that. So I went and took it. There it was. And we discussed, and the funny, people think, were you discussing the stories? And say, yes, but from a like each book was its own book, as if you were, like if you went to study the writings of Stephen King kind of thing. It was meant to be a literature class because I found it fascinating. But no, and many of you are chiming in, most of you are like, no, I don't want that. Because what if your teachers are Mormon? What if they're an atheist? What if they're, what if they're Hindu? What if they're agnostic? What if they believe in crystals? You probably got a lot of those.
You laugh, but there would be somewhere in this country somebody that would be teaching from that dynamic.
Yeah, and you don't want, everybody's like, yes, I want that. No, you want the thing that you want. You don't want anything else.
You want government to say your religion is the good one.
Yes, and the other religion's the bad one.
We have prayer in public schools.
It isn't organized prayer. It's individual prayer.
Wait a minute, so prayer doesn't exist if it's not organized? It is organized. We have groups like Fellowship of Christian Athletes that my kids were a part of, that were an organized group that met before school.
Yeah.
And they prayed. They prayed during class, and they prayed at sporting events, like after every football game. So why can't you just say something simple? Because what your statement was is I go and I say I'm bringing prayer back to public school, and everybody cheers. And the implication is that there's not prayer in public schools. That's a lie. You're lying when you say that.
Well, you're talking about two different things here.
No, all I'm talking about is a very simple. Why can't you acknowledge that prayer in public schools currently exists?
Well, because when you say prayer in public schools, you're using a term that is not precise. All right? Prayer exists everywhere that there's a human person.
Does it exist in public schools?
I mean, you interrupt there, so there's no reason to have a discussion.
No, you want to ramble on, and you don't want anyone to challenge you. My issue is that Gino can't say anything positive about the public school system, and that's currently been the case. He's been here how many years? He's shown up for 2 of these meetings. Same number as lawsuits he's filed against Williamson County schools. He gets challenged on a simple thing of, can you acknowledge that prayer exists in public schools? Which is a fact. It does exist. The kids do have the right. No one interferes with that right. There are student clubs that meet every day in Williams County. There is prayer in public schools every day. And when you ask him to acknowledge that, you can see that he gets triggered and flees the scene, as he just did.
Do you think that's because he wants to be viewed as a hero to bring it back?
I think it's because he has an axe to grind with the public school system. I don't know why that is. We're educating over 42,000 kids here. We're changing lives. We're creating the foundations for wonderful futures. We have the best school system in the state, in my humble opinion, and he can't acknowledge this. The guy can fly a drone over the schools when he's running for office and take a photo of it without asking for permission, pretend he supports them. But when you challenge him on something simple as, can you acknowledge that prayer exists, after he admits that he goes to his political rallies and tells people that it doesn't exist, he's lying. So, that's my issue with him.
And yeah, it's so much of the hypocrisy of it all. And if you want prayer and that's in your school, send your kid to a Christian school. If that's what you want. If that's what you want. But we're, even one, because it's like 15 minutes. And in one thing, cause, and a lot of it is hard to hear. And I had to play around with it to get to this. But in some of these, conversations, he was like, well, Bose keeps going back to 1963, 1960. And everybody's like, yeah, it's a different nation now. It's different. We're more diverse. And he's like, yeah, I guess you can. The guy's like, well, can I have an imam come by? It's like, I guess. It goes back to like what we've been saying is everybody wants it to be theirs. And the other thing is, not all Christianity is the same. You got your non-denominationals, You got your your Southern Baptist. You've got your Unitarians, right? You've got, you can go down the line.
Presbyterians, Methodists.
You look around and you say, well, which one's this teacher? I don't know. So, it's if that's what you want, there are schools for that. If that's what you want. But in our public schools, no, let's just separate it, keep it that way. Because the other unforeseen circumstances is the lawsuits are going to come with it. They're going to have to defend over and over again. And I think what he wants is to try to get to the Supreme Court. That would be his goal. See if we can get this to the Supreme Court, get it up there, see what will happen, because he hopes. But I don't think it's going to turn out any different. And then the unforeseen consequences of, well, now, it's like everybody gets mad when there's a Satan club. Yeah. But you can't have this, you can't have that. Now you got to have all of these clubs or all of these opportunities. And that's not what we want. Then it's becoming something that it shouldn't become. Hell, at times it feels barely like a school. But he was so right there. He's like, he does it because the crowd cheers him on. Yes, that's what we want. Several of you have texted in, and somebody told me to go back to your country. Okay?
Arizona?
And it's just so, well, somebody said, what about the Mormons? Settle down there. What about the
What about the space Mormons?
What about the space Mormons?
Oh, Scientologists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo. It is the...
Who knows? Tom Cruise might come down.
Yeah, what about that? Are you guys all fine with everything? Are you fine with your kid coming home going, hey, we're learning about the Quran today? Probably not. I bet you, hey, we were going through the Talmud. Let me tell you what it says about Jesus. Oh, I bet you wouldn't be thrilled.
We had some Hare Krishnas come in today and give a talk.
Yeah, those monks, they were walking and they just cruised on in and started talking to us. I'm thinking I like it.
They had great calves.
They did, man, and they got kung fu moves. No, you wouldn't.
The guy from the Scientology Celebrity Center came over and gave us some pamphlets.
It is it'll be interesting to see how far this goes. And by the way, we were talking last hour, somebody, it was right. They didn't pass that flag, the pride flag thing. It died in the Senate. So now
it wouldn't be redundant then.
No, so I guess they could put it up still, unless the bill passes that you can have the pride flag in your class or any flag. Is it just the pride flag? Really what you should have is the American flag and the state flag, and we all move on. That's it. That's all you need. When I went to a Christian school, we had a Christian flag.
Yeah, it's same for me.
Yeah.
And the Christian flag was on top of the pole. Then you had the U.S. flag, and then you had the state flag.
Yeah. And then I was like, it's not really the way that's supposed to be, but still. But
it's a private school, so they can do it that way.
Did your Christian flag, was it the white one with the blue and the red cross? Yeah, that's what mine was too. I didn't know if it had changed in different places. Let's see here. So we'll see. And everybody's like, this nation was built on Christianity. There's a reason that our forefathers were like, they were Christian, but they also worried about, let's hang back a little bit here. Right? They
specifically wrote one of the amendments to make sure that government did not sponsor any specific religion.
I know, because we wouldn't have the space Mormons. They're going to get so mad at us.
Well, they're mad at us anyway.
They're all mad at us. The Mormons are mad at us. And we didn't even say anything. It's not about you guys, the Mormons. Okay?
Mormons. All the Mormons I've ever known, man, they are really nice.
They're the best. They're the coolest people.
But I guarantee you there's a space Mormon sitting over in that celebrity center right now cursing because we're calling them space Mormons.
Probably. They're probably listening. They're probably getting some thetans over to come and attack us. We're going to have to see if we can go clear. Pride okay, Jesus not okay. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said any of that.
He just said that the flags that should be in the schools are the U.S. flag and the state flag. Nowhere did he say it was okay in his mind to put up a pride flag. Pay attention. The details matter.
Somebody really hit us with a good. What about the Pastafarians? They have the.
I may have to give in on that one.
Was it the flying
spaghetti monster?
Yeah.
Well, they come after the Rastafarians.
We can put them
you get
together
real
because
hungry.
if you Rasta a little bit, you might need to pasta a little bit. See what I did there?
That's the way to go, brother.
You get the munchies.
That's what he was talking about. Let us know what you think. Should prayer come back? And if it does, are you fine with everything, or is it only the kind that you want? Let us know. Love hearing from each and every one of you. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997. Somebody asked me, do I think the cheating scandal is going to change anything? And I said no. The reason is because the companies that are out there that are gambling companies, the big ones, A, they've got a lot of money, and B, and this is important, many cases, they're the ones who turn everybody in. They see lines move in ways that are unnatural, and they alert everybody as fast as possible.
Interesting.
Because they don't want to be associated with it either, because they're the ones losing the money.
Well, yeah, they're trying to run a business.
Yes. They're trying to run a business, and they're the ones, and they see it, and they want to be above board as much as possible. They're fine being regulated. They're fine for all of that stuff. They got no problem with that. And the one that happened earlier, late last year, the one with, the Portland Trailblazers coach and everything.
Yes.
That was all, I think, DraftKings and a couple other ones that turned everybody in because they saw things that were completely ridiculous, and they see money lines move in ways that there's just no way that a guy that's like the second guy off the bench should have that much money put on him. And they're like, something's going down. And then they contacted immediately and basketball's usually the one. Have you noticed a lot of these are all basketball? Because it's the one game it's the one individual side of stuff that you could influence. Because if you're on the court, at some point in time, you're getting the ball. Or you can allow somebody to score. Hockey's not like that. Football's not like that. Because there's too many things going on. So basketball's the one that's the easiest. And, man, I heard some of those guys were getting $30,000 a game.
Up to $30,000 a game.
You know, we all think, we hear about the NIL money that comes out for these kids that's huge. You know, like, what are they saying? Arch Manning's going to get $5 or $7 million next year. You know, you've got the guy going back for Oregon because they're guaranteeing him like $5 or $7 million as well.
Yeah.
And, but we think that they're not all getting that. They're not. You know, the backup lineman, he may be getting, a free truck and $25,000, which is better than what he got before. But they're not all getting that. And if you're a third stringer on Temple and somebody gives you a chance to make $100,000 in a month, you're probably going to take that. Especially if you come from a situation where money is tight, you don't have anything. So it'll be interesting to see, but I bet you. And the other thing is too, a lot of these, the colleges, it's always been that way in college though. And I was listening to Eric and Tursky talk about this is nothing new. Guys have shaved points off for years, but usually it's a point or two. And the one thing they look at a lot of these things is the over-unders in totals. So we'll see. I'm excited, man. We got football this weekend. Football this weekend. We got the national championship on Monday.
Indiana's going to win that.
Yeah, I think so. I do too. I do.
Depends on how many points get shaved.
That's right. How Mendoza's feeling. That Mendoza kid, he is hilarious to watch. The player for Indiana. He's as goofy as the day is long.
He seems like a great kid, man.
When they went, so he took a lot of his childhood friends with him to New York City for the Heisman thing. And, and everybody says he's just the coolest guy in the world. He's just he is. And he's totally that aw shucks, gee whiz guys. We're doing it. I love God, and let's throw a touchdown pass, and we can do it. Woo! Although I will say Miami's, they got a bunch of guys on the other side of the line that are kind of mean.
Yeah.
They play, how should we say, violently.
They have a very violent attitude.
Yeah. And they're
especially
home. Did you see how much I got to check. The ticket prices for the game are Super Bowl-esque.
I have a feeling, though, that Indiana's offensive line can match Miami's defensive line's violence. That Indiana offensive line is incredible, man.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. I think if they score early, it is going to be – because the one thing, Miami's not going to be able to get into a track meet with them.
No.
By the way, ticket prices, are you ready for this?
Yes.
$30,000.
Good grief.
A midfield suite. So, midfield. $1.8 million. Because the U is back, baby. The U is back.
Yeah.
The U is back. We shall see. It'll be interesting. I got some of your text messages. We'll talk about those. Bell's, I'm sure, arguing with some of you. God bless Bell for that. Because you guys are all mad at us because it's not the Space Mormons now?
No.
No. It's the regular judgy people.
It's the regular people need to think like I do or they're bad.
That's right. Praise the Lord. Now do what I say or else. Just like Jesus wanted. Chad Benson, Joe Super Talk 99.7. Stay-at-home sons, they're here, and they're not going anywhere. That is insane. I've been reading a lot about how many kids have moved back home, and it's the men. What the hell are you doing? And they're like helping out around the house, and they kind of got a job, but they don't have a job. You need to kick them out of the house. You need to say, you've got to all right, you got to go. You got to grow up. But it is growing more and more. And you're finding it more and more that there's stay-at-home. And they're not, what they're doing is they're coming back from college in some of them, and they're just never moving out. You know, they're fine living in the basement. That is not a good place for us to be. And the one thing that I find to be interesting is some of them are doing stuff for their parents, like being their butler, their valet. No, go get a real job. Mom and dad don't want you living there anymore. Like that's the thing is you should be out on your own. And I know it's a little bit more expensive, and I know you got to live with 9 people at first, but it's what happens. It's absolutely the thing you have to do, though. You cannot stay here. Mom's already turned your room into into her craft room.
It's Dad's man cave.
Man cave.
Now, we got a rule in our household that when you turn 18, that's whenever you start paying bills.
Yes. Yeah. That's what my mom used to do. If you were going to be around, you know, you're going to pay. You're going to help out and pay.
And just at some point, I couldn't wait to get out of my parents' house.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to drive.
I could not wait to do it.
I couldn't wait to drive.
Right.
You get a lot of these kids now, they don't want to take their test even. They don't want to go learn.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get out of the house. That's why I left really, really early. And
I got to say, it was easier for me back in the 80s, especially living in Oklahoma. It was easier for me. It was cheap. It was cheaper. But you still got to have that desire, and you got to learn how to survive in this world.
You do.
Especially today.
Yeah, and a little tough love doesn't hurt. And, you know, I just, like my son, he can't, you know, he can't wait to get his license. He turned 16 in a few months and starting his driver's stuff, and he can't wait to get his license, and he can't wait to get out there and start doing his thing. And we're looking, there's a couple schools out there in San Diego that are hybrid schools where you could start to, because he wants to be an electrician, start to do that stuff and train while he's doing high school stuff as well.
That'll never go away, electricians.
No. And by the way, the numbers, that's the other thing too, the trade school, the numbers that are out there as far as what is going to be a big deal in the coming years as far as the jobs. Check this out. So the skilled trades over the next decade, growth on average about 6%. Electricians growth year to year about 10%.
There you go.
HVAC, 8%. Here's one. Elevator installers, 5% year over year. Carpenters, plumbers, iron workers, insulators, all about 4.5%. Equipment operators and welders as well.
Welders, man. They can make money.
They can make a ton of money. They can make a ton of money. If you're a good welder, I am not a good welder. That was not my jam.
I've never tried. I'd probably burn something down.
That's the whole thing. I'm thinking this is going to end with fire somewhere. Somebody's getting burned. Probably me.
Right.
So, but again, and a lot of these jobs are going to be geared men and get out of the house. But like you said, I couldn't wait to get out. Neither could my family, actually. That's what
Wait for you to get out.
You know, I people like, we always joke about like with my family. We're not a close people. My mother, I'm moving to Europe. I'm moving to Europe to go live my life. I'm like 16 years old. My mom drops me off at the airport. My flight leaves at 5:30. She drops me off at like 10:30 or 11 in the morning because they're going to go see the matinee of Phantom of the Opera with Michael Crawford.
Priorities, man. Priorities.
I remember we land on December 6th in London, right? So we go to our, like, the billets, the people we're staying with. I call them and talk to my grandma one day. And then my mom calls on my birthday. So I've been there 14 days. It's like 16 years old. My mom's all, happy birthday. I'm like, thanks, Mom. I said, you didn't. I said, I called. You guys didn't bother to call me? She goes, well, obviously the plane didn't go down or anything because we'd have known. So I'm like, there you go.
Did you have to be emancipated to go?
No. It was hilarious, though. It was just so, like, that's my mom. You go live your life. And I couldn't wait. And I don't know how these kids do it.
Man, it is tough living with adult kids.
Yes.
I know. I guarantee you my parents probably couldn't wait for me to leave too, man, because, I mean, at the time, it was a hard time, and we weren't getting along. I wanted everything my way. I was a selfish young adult like they all are, and it was just time. It was just time.
Yeah, it was. And the weird thing is, too, when you, especially if you're somebody who's gone off to college and you've come back and you've had those 4 years where you're doing your own thing and then you're back under the roof. And that's weird. And I understand that there are people out there like, that life happens. You got to move back with your family because, maybe you had a divorce or you lost everything. Okay, that's one thing. But these are young men that are in supposedly the beginning prime of their life. And they're like, nah, I'll just be a valet for mom and dad. No.
What's that pay?
You get free room and board.
Free room and board, yeah.
I mean, as much as I love my kids and I want to see them, I still want to hug and kiss my adult children.
Yes.
But at the same time, and it's sad to say, I want them to go off and live their own lives. I want them to go wherever they want to go and live their lives.
Because
my daughter definitely wanted it.
But that's what you're raising your children to do that. The whole thing is to get them out of the nest.
Right.
Right? You get you away. Go live your life. This is what we did. We fed you. We clothed you. We did all of those things. It's to get you out of the nest so you can go live your life. And it's one thing if you've got to move back home because mom is starting to lose it.
Sure.
And you're not going to put her in a home.
And if they fall on hard times, they've got a home to come back
Absolutely. To. But it shouldn't be their first option because they don't want to seem to do anything or grow up.
I'm not a parent, but I will say I think a parent's number one job is to prepare their children to not need them.
Keep them safe and prepare them for life.
Yes. Absolutely. And raise them in a way where they're not asshats for the rest of the planet. It's always been my thing. Do not be an ass after the plan. And one of the other big things that it's interesting is more and more people are buying homes with their friends.
That
And
can ruin a friendship.
That's what I'm thinking.
Boy, yeah. We rented one time from a friend, and that was not a good idea.
No, but because they want the American dream, and they don't think they're going to get it. But you've got a little bit of cash. I got a little bit of cash. We both got okay credit. We've got some money in the bank where we could put it down. We want to own a home, and alone we can't do it. So together they're thinking we can. So it's odd that that is actually growing in a big way, especially among women, where they're buying homes together. And I'm thinking, 2 women buying a home together? This isn't going to work out well. So, and then what happens if you meet somebody and you fall in love and you're like, oh my God, I want to get married. She's like, well, I don't want your husband here, your boyfriend. Now what? Now you're fighting over who gets to keep the house.
How do you, I want to make sure I word this properly. How do you address that in the context of what you do, which is having businesses with family?
Oh, that's a tough thing. Like with my uncle and I, the way we do it is, especially because I will handle, like if we have to do a meeting or certain things about money, but for the most part, he handles all the creative and handles a lot of that stuff. I'll handle whatever else that needs to be handled, and I kind of let him run that ship. That's always been his thing, and which I'm totally cool with, because that's the good dynamic, because I don't need to be involved and I don't want to be involved.
So it's making sure that the roles are specifically defined.
Absolutely, specifically that we could do each other's gig, right? As far as inside. Now, I can't do the creative stuff that he can do because he's a nerd, but he is so nerdy. But we have kind of these defined roles of how we do this stuff. But that's a tough thing, man. And I've seen a lot of buddies who've gotten into business together, and it's got ugly too.
Yeah.
Friendships are ruined.
Yeah, man. I will never do that.
No. I just, and I've had friends who've come to me and they wanted to do businesses and they want to do stuff together. And I'm just like, I don't think so. I mean, that's a tough thing, but owning the house thing is an odd thing. And the fact that it is happening way more because people are desperate. They want to own a home and they think it's getting away from them. What was I reading yesterday? In California, in Marin County, that's the Shishi area. Well, it's really not, but it is in a lot of places. But that's where all you got to think about, where Silicon Valley and all that stuff is. To own a home in Marin Valley, you have to make over $550,000 a year.
Yeah. Alex Stone did that story.
And in California, you have to earn over $200,000 a year just to own a home outside of that county.
Yeah, you got to make $223,000 a year to own a home anywhere in California right now.
That is so, crazy.
Yeah, but they got that giant minimum wage out there, so that helps.
That is not helping. Well, I was showing Belle. So this lady who's a real estate agent, she from my mom's area, I always like to check on my mom's house. And she always says, make sure you check and see what's going on there. And there is an apartment complex right behind my mother's house. It's just a run mill. It's like townhomes, but it's an apartment complex. It's an apartment for sale, a little townhome, $900,000.
Yes, sir.
$889,000.
What's the square footage on it?
1,500 or something.
That ain't no great shakes.
Oh God, no. And you have no backyard.
Yeah, Brother Murphy, he had his realtor on the air with him the other day, and she told us that there are some of the people coming to Tennessee and other places from California are leaving one-bedroom residences that are going for $1 million in some places.
Yeah. Oh.
And that's why they're coming here. They can buy more.
Well, they can.
But look what they were spending just to live in a little one-bedroom place.
I follow this mortgage guy who always people ask him, hey, I want to buy a house here, and this is what it costs. And he tells you how much you have to put down and stuff. And it makes me laugh because they'll do a house in California. It's like, all right, so you need to put down $135,000. and your monthly payment with insurance and everything is going to be $7,800. And I'm thinking $7,800. What?
Man.
And what you're buying is, you're not buying a house, you're buying a location.
Right.
And I learned that in London. Houses in like Fulham and these places in London where you're buying a run-of-the-mill brick, they're just all together. The doors are right next to each other. It's a brick, looks like a condo or townhome, and you're spending £2 million on it, on something that 100 years ago, that's what the postman lived in.
Are they kind of like brownstones in New York?
Yeah, kind of like that. But that's all you're doing is paying for location, because this was a chimney sweep's house 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
It's location, location, location. All right, coming up. Oh, yesterday, did Trump get his Nobel Peace Prize? We'll talk a little bit about that. Chad Benson, Super Talk 98.7. So yesterday, Mrs. Machado was in town, and that is the lady that would love to be the leader of Venezuela. It's a weird situation. She gave her Nobel Peace Prize to Trump, which he deserves, because I've stopped 403 wars. It was amazing. I went straight to Xerxes and I said, stop it. Why do you have so much gold? Where can I get it? But
need it for my ballroom.
I need it for my ballroom. It's a lot. We got a lot of gold. That's why gold's so high. It's funny listening to Trump talk about her.
I got to know her. I never met her before, and I was very, very impressed. She's this is a fine woman.
She's not getting anywhere near to running that country anytime soon. She isn't. Because he recognizes you don't have the weapons. You don't have the military. You don't have the police. You don't have the bolivars, the people that are willing to fight for, the rogue bunch of people that they had on the side that was kind of like their militias. You would be done for if they dropped you off there.
She just seems way too nice.
Yeah, way too nice. Just too nice. And he recognizes that. Plus, he said, Mrs. Rodriguez, the old president right now, she's been pretty good to us at this moment in time. So, we're going to keep it steady. I think I think we'd have to go in there and take all of the heads of the ministry and stuff out. And I don't think we're prepared to do that. So we'll see what happens. Coming up, hour number 3 of the program. A lot of stuff to talk about still. Got some of your text messages. Some of you want those mandals. They're coming, kids. They're coming. Chad Benson, Super Talk 98.7.